So in this short video, I'm going to provide a succinct summary and overview of the key drivers and outlook for the nickel market, drawing particularly on the insights of analysts and industry experts as expressed during virtual LME week events that took place over the last week or so. As an overview, nickel price recovered pretty well this year from the lows in March, and that's really been driven by a boom in Chinese stainless steel demand linked to really a rapid recovery in construction and infrastructure sectors, and also by strong optimism by funds and others about nickel's long-term battery demand prospects as the electric vehicle prospects have really taken off and expect to see further policy support. In terms of demand, digging into that in a bit more detail, we've seen 300 series stainless steel output really picking up very strongly in China this year, and that's the more nickel-intensive stainless steel type. In terms of stainless output in Indonesia, that's also been on the rise quite significantly. I think nickel prices, if they move a bit higher, they could perhaps pose a little bit of a problem for stainless, but I mean that's something perhaps to watch for next year. I think in terms of demand, the outlook consensus of different analysts is probably a demand loss of about 4% in 2020, and next year we're looking at probably 7 or 8% growth, and that's really driven again by a strong anticipation on stainless steel demand, but also the year-on-year kind of increase from a low base. Again, the long-term outlook for nickel in batteries is pretty strong. You know, the electric vehicle and electrification linked to that is very much going to be driven by government regulation and keenness to have a green recovery from the pandemic, and there's a hope that that's going to accelerate that move towards nickel and towards batteries and demand for nickel. In terms of supply, global nickel production rise about 2.3% this year. I think that the big increase this year, offsetting some of the will offset some of the potential increase in demand next year, is the very strong increase in MPI production from Indonesia. That's, I think, what everyone is watching at the moment, and that should offset any declines that are seen in Chinese MPI production because of the ore ban that came in the beginning of this year. Also, we're seeing, towards the end of this year, Philippines ore supply impacted a little bit by the wet season, and that's providing some shorter-term support. Longer term, I think the nickel market balance obviously will depend on the ability of Indonesia to keep ramping up that supply of MPI, and also HPAL projects, so high-pressure acid leach projects, which have a lot of technical difficulties to them, but also remain compliant with these responsible production requirements that are becoming increasingly required. In terms of the market balance, analysts are still predicting kind of a market surplus in nickel next year, and that varies from between maybe 5 kilotons, a very small surplus, to around 100 kilotons, depending on the analyst. And really the basis for that is an expectation that Indonesian supply growth is very much going to match the pandemic demand recovery, although nickel prices may continue to find financial support because of that massively optimistic view about the electrical vehicle demand that we might see in batteries for nickel over the next few years. So that's the overview for nickel. What I encourage you to do is view some of our other LME week videos that we've put out there. It includes a base metal markets overview and also some drill downs into some of the individual metals. And of course, if you've got any questions specifically on nickel or anything else, then feel free to contact me directly. Thank you.